Speaking of who is not ever going to be a big star in wrestling again, the next segment was Kip Sabian and Miro planning the Sabian bachelor party. Did you see this while they were playing video games?
I certainly did see this, yes.
Have you, and Miro was talking to some guy in a white suit.
Yeah.
Is that
you don't know who that is?
Important? No, I had no clue who that was.
That guy's the best heel on this entire show. That's Billy Mitchell. Did you ever see the film, I guess you didn't, The King of Kong? Billy Mitchell is a guy who has all these various video game records from the early 80s. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and another guy named Steve Wiebe, a really nice guy, started playing Donkey Kong in his garage and filming it, and he beat the high score. But because Billy Mitchell was totally in with the Twin Galaxies people, the people who track the video game scores, they wouldn't accept Steve Wiebe's score. So the whole film is Steve Wiebe battling for legitimacy while Billy Mitchell is like holding down all of his old friends and making sure that Steve Wiebe doesn't get the credit. And he's a total heel. He wears an American flag or something with America tie. He has the mullet. He acts like a dick. So let me just say,
How do you know who this fucking guy is?
Because it's a fantastic movie. That guy's one of the best heels in the history of documentary cinema.
How many people would know who this fucking guy is?
That I can't tell
Was he ever identified?
He was never, I think maybe coming out of that segment, one of the, probably excrement, said, "Oh, that's Billy Mitchell. What's he doing with Miro?" But he was never identified in the segment. I didn't like the fact that the segment itself was all fake, because all of a sudden the camera's here, the camera's here. The camera just happens to be there when Billy Mitchell slides up the Miro, who went from being the Bulgarian brute or whatever to being someone who just wants to play video games all day. And the less talking he does, the better. I will say that too.
Have you understood a word he has said yet? With that accent, I can't understand a word he fucking said.
I understood what he said. I think because of what he was saying and how he was saying it in his voice. If you want to make him a killer heel, which I guess they don't want to do, I wouldn't have him talk. But Billy Mitchell, and it's their fault for not identifying him in the way they used him, but if you've never seen The King of Kong, that's worth you going out of your way to see. One of the greatest heels in the history of documentary film. He's fantastic.
I was thinking Billy Mays, but he's the guy that does Flex Seal, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, from now on, Miro will be known as Mighty Miro, because I think the only thing that can save him is the Mighty Igor gimmick. He needs to lead a fucking toy dog to the ring, eat kielbasa from his hand, and pat small children on the head. That's about it for Miro. Mighty Miro. Anyway.
And by the way, then people came out and accused Billy Mitchell of having fraudulent scores. And there's one guy, and you got to see this movie. There's one guy named Captain Awesome. And he has this thing where he thinks Billy Mitchell is holding him down, and he wears this little outfit, and he used to put ads in Playgirl magazine for any girls that were looking for action. And him and Billy have this feud because they wouldn't.
Wait a minute, what now?
Yeah, this guy's nuts. And he had a comic book he put out.
What the words that just came out? He used to put ads in Playgirl for women looking for action.
Yeah, that if any women wanted to get with him, they could. And I think the game was Space Invaders. I think it could be something else, but he claims he has the high score and they won't honor it, so he hates Billy Mitchell. If you think wrestling's something, you got to check out the world around these video game guys from the early 80s. It's amazing.
I'm just telling you, you are way too... You're starting to sound like an AEW-ite here. You're way too excited about these people's lives and petty problems.
The booking in that movie and the characters in that movie are better than anything AEW has ever done. Ever. And Steve Wiebe's a better babyface than anyone in AEW, and Billy Mitchell is by far a better heel than anyone in AEW. Captain Awesome would be a tweener, I guess.
Faint praise there.
I do want to make a correction. I was wrong before. It's actually Mr. Awesome, not Captain Awesome. And the game was actually Missile Command, because I found this crazy website. So that's why I want to.
Well, I'm glad now we've cleared that up, and also I'm glad to know you got some entertainment while I'm having to recount what happened on this program.